Hi everyone, my name is Eunice Santiso. Thank you for joining me again in this second episode of our 7 p.m. Thursday program. Again, this is not live yet. We're working towards that, and hopefully by next month it will be live. Today I wanted to go over just a little bit of our updates of what's going on in Life and Strength. And so far, we have been real successful with our art therapy group, senior art therapy group. And we have about 4 or 6 seniors that come consistently. We have been learning about being creative, using our hands more, and being able to just have that community with other people their age as well as their family members who are volunteering. So if you know anybody that you think would benefit from this group, I ask that you give us a call and see if we can get them in. It's completely free. Right now we are launching just our Spanish group, but we have the English group that we are creating a waiting list so that once we have enough people that are, seniors who are willing and wanting to try this group out, then we can go ahead and launch it. Another thing is that we have our life skills group. And this group I'm very excited for. It is to help the community who feels they are a little bit more, I guess, struggling in getting back into the community. It could be that maybe they struggled with substance use before, maybe they struggled with uh, maintaining a job and need a little bit different skills to learn in order to go ahead and be successful in going back into the community. Right now, we have a waiting list, and again, we're hoping that once we fill that up, we can go ahead and launch it. It's going to start every Thursday at 5 p.m. and it will be the English group. We don't have the Spanish group right now, but we're very excited for that. So I hope that, and I will be facilitating that group. Again, this group is also free. Our nonprofit, we're really passionate about helping our community, and if you can't afford either mental health services or afford groups like these that we offer, we're trying to make things as easily attainable as possible. And we don't want we try to make them free for everybody. What else? So that's our updates. Right now, the conversation that I would like to start with is what to do when you feel like you're just not feeling yourself today. Things like that. Like, yeah, yes, we have our responsibilities. We have to do what we have to do. We have a job or we have to take care of the kids, but we're not feeling ourselves. We're having a rough day. So, what can we do? What do we do? What do you feel goes on around that theme, like around that subject that I'm discussing? And honestly, I can tell you that I have those days, and being a therapist and having to share my energy with people is something very special for me. And at the same time, it's something that I feel I have the responsibility to provide a good energy for my clients, right? If you're having a rough day and you have to see clients, right? How can you make sure that your energy is still good for them? How can you make sure that you're providing your best self in that moment? And honestly, that is something that I go to God for every time. And this might apply with you in a different way. And, how can you be your best self if you're a mother when you're going through a bunch of things and still have to be a mother for your children? Or, you're a pastor and you still have to provide those services for your community, your church. So it's a lot. Like, we're still human. We go through experiences that sometimes drain us, that sometimes, take our energy, just because it's taking a large amount of emotions and things that you have to kind of contain during your work day. But then you still have to provide those people that come into your path with that right energy, right? And I always feel that it's important to be your authentic self. So, right now, as you can tell, I have a lower energy, and it could be a variety of things. But you wouldn't know that unless I share it with you and I am open with you, right? So, for me, it could be, maybe I didn't have enough sleep last night because I'm also going through some things in my personal life, and my sleep is a little bit off because of it. So it could be that the fact that I'm doing this recording in the morning instead of the evening or instead of the afternoon. So it has a lot to do with that. But also the fact that going through whatever storm I might be going through does create this energy that it takes energy from me. So let's talk about that. One, let's talk about being real. Yes, we all are going through a storm, either entering one, go in the middle of one, or exiting a storm, right? God didn't promise that we weren't going to have these storms. God promised that He will be with us through them. So it's very important to be real about these things that we go through. We're not, and even if we're people of faith and people who trust in God and believe in God, it doesn't mean that because we are, like, I'm a Christian, so I'm going to use my like, I'm going to use that as my religion, right? But so if just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean that I'm not going to go through hardships, through stressful events. Just because I trust in God, I believe in God, doesn't mean that, oh, well, now God is going to make sure that you don't go through any hardships, any storms. That's not the case. And that's not, that's not true. So God will, and He has promised that He will always be with you through the beginning, through the middle, through the end. And that is really our truth. So first is acknowledging it, that we are human and we need God to allow us to go through these storms and still be able to be with Him and still be able to accept that we're going through it, but be able to surpass it with Him, right? So the importance of this is, one, that to acknowledge it, that it's happening and it's okay. We have, if you're not a person of faith, then I can ask if you're interested in becoming or accepting God as your Savior. And if not, this is still going to be useful information for you. So first, it's just acknowledging that we will go through these hardships, and it's okay to be honest about it. And you don't always have to be that strong person. Actually, in our art therapy group, we just did an intervention where we drew up some masks, and in the outside of the mask we went ahead and painted and drew or wrote whatever it is that how people see us, what kind, like, who we show to other people. And on the inside of the mask was what we're really going through, what is our real self that maybe we don't always show. And for me, it was that I always show that I'm strong and that I can, take whatever comes my way and I can deal with it and be okay. Um, but so that was actually something that I feel I no longer do. So I'm able to express, like, hey, I'm having a rough day today. I am feeling sad. I am feeling, and maybe I'm not feeling sad at the moment, but I'm feeling a lower energy. And sometimes I don't know why. We don't have to know why. We just know that that's what we're feeling right now, and that's okay. So I like to be authentic, and if in a moment, yes, I still have my responsibilities I need to do, and I give myself grace. So if I'm going through this storm, maybe I'm in the center of it, and it is a lot of taking energy. It's taking a lot of my energy. So I will give myself grace. And what does that mean? That means that I don't, maybe when I am at the end of the storms in other times, I'm able to give more of myself. I'm able to give maybe whatever percentage, like 100% or 50, like 95% or whatever. So I'm able to do more. I'm able to maybe do more administrative work. Whatever it is that I do it better, right? Because I'm at a different season in my life. But when maybe I'm in the middle of this storm, what it means for me to give myself grace is that I am understanding, like, hey, I'm not really at my full potential right now because I have a lot of things going on. So it's okay if maybe today I don't get my 100 list of things that I need to do done. I give myself grace. I choose my priorities. I've learned to prioritize what is important that I need to get done today and what can maybe, wait until tomorrow. The more important things, I go ahead and make sure I do those, and the less important or maybe not as important, I go ahead and wait on those things. I also learned, so again, to give myself grace, I've learned to balance my lifestyle. Maybe before I could run 10-hour work days. I can go ahead and come home after work and still do my studies, do my schoolwork, and my balance was a little bit different because I could manage more. And during these times, excuse me, if I am not feeling or I'm still going through, my storm or this hardship or whatever it is that you might be going through, give yourself grace in balancing how much work can I do today and what else is important in my life that I want to make sure I get into my day, right? So we only have today, and if we have our family, that it's important to us. So what are your values? And then go ahead and prioritize those. For me, it's important to do God's work. So when I am working in the office and when I'm seeing my clients, I want to be sure that I am prioritizing those moments with other people. So if at some point I didn't get to do some administrative work or I didn't get to write my note or whatever it may be that is less important, I save those things for another day. For me, it's very important, like I was mentioning, to give my full attention, my full self when I am with a client, when I am speaking with a person. It's very important to me to give them my full attention because that is my priority. Whether it's being in front with my kids, whether it's being in front of a client, whether it's being in front of a group, or if by some chance I started talking to a stranger, I believe that all of those things, all of those coincidences are not really coincidences, and that God put this person in my path because they needed something. And so I love when I'm talking to people to really give them my attention, to really see them, look at them, and make them feel known. Like, yes, you are important enough for me to set aside, all these things that are going through my mind that I need to do, all my to-do, like I set all that aside because none of that is important for me right now. What's important is you, and I like to give that full attention to anybody who crosses my path. So to me, that's my priority. So I make sure that throughout my day, if I have things to do, okay, which are my priorities? I write those down. Like, I definitely have to do this, I definitely have to do that. Okay. And then if something happens that's coincidental or it's unexpected, and I end up being in front of a person, then I set those other things aside so that I can give them my full attention. So this comes back to our balance, right? A balance for me is always going to be for when I'm at work, I try to be at work. When I am with my kids, I'm with my kids. I set aside my phone, and I like to spend time with them however is needed. It's really good for you to be in this present moment. I try not to think so much about the future. I try not to think so much about the past, and I am just here with them right now. And it's the same in my whole day, really. So I encourage you, if you are going through this storm in your life, and or maybe you're exiting one, that's great. How do you give yourself grace? How do you prioritize your things that you need to do? Prioritize who you give your attention to, or what you give your attention to. And how do you balance your life, your work life, your professional, your personal life? How do you balance those things? And what else? I see we're getting short on time. So for me, I'd like to know more about you. I'd like to know, those things that I just asked. Please send them in our comments, and I can go ahead, and if you're comfortable, we can share that to others, post it on the either the Facebook or wherever it is that you saw this or heard it, because it's also in our podcast. But yeah, please reply to us, and we'd love to hear from you also, again, from topics that you want us to talk about. Again, I will provide our socials here. If you can please share it if you got something out of it, if there was some sort of helpful information for you, please go ahead and share it. Subscribe to our channel and like our page and follow us. Okay. So the socials will be here somewhere. And last thing is, we want to ask you if you are able to donate for an international business. They're called Casa Hogar Infantil Uriel. So they are looking for donations. They would like to go ahead and purchase uniforms for the students, for the kids, and they are in need of some funds. I'm not exactly sure how much. I can share that also here. But we are trying to raise money for them and try to help them so that they can purchase these uniforms, and so that the kids in Tijuana can go ahead and have their uniforms before the school starts. So we ask you for that, and we just ask again that you share this channel, and we thank you so much, and we hope to see you next week at 7 p.m. And we'll see if it'll be live by then. I'm not so sure, but thank you for joining me. Bye.